don't want to say this is a public service announcement because typically 90% of the time, or most of the time, when I record a video and if I post it, whether on any platform, most of the time it's only YouTube, or I don't post it all. Kind of record with no expectation, meaning I really don't have a look at it as expressing to any particular audience or space. If I upload it, it's whoever sees it. And as one blogger I follow says, take what resonates and leave what doesn't, or either or neither. So this particular expression is connected to, or rather, it's in the space of, okay, so I'm just going to kind of ramble, kind of blabber a little bit. So I acknowledge in the space of sociology, history, world history, American history, linguistics, anthropology. So then I say, well, one consideration is you look up, or it can be just fact, or obvious, or true. Is sex more natural than the English language? Okay, the English language hasn't always been here, so is sex more natural than most spoken languages? And then I would also say that sex is just as natural as drinking water at times. So then consider the act, or the nature rather, is in all species. So then I have this consideration. There's a film. The film is called Anon, A-N-O-N. And Anon, it expresses something in the space of cyberspace versus the flesh space. Excuse me. Cyberspace versus the flesh space. Now, I don't know or recall exactly what that was regarding, or what it meant, or what it was referring to. Yet then, the consideration is, okay, so I embrace music, entertainment, cinema, athletics, sports. So then, if it's music, then it's not only culture-based music, or even music with words. I mean, I was in symphonic band, I was in band, so I listened to orchestral music or band music. I listened to Oriental music, music in the languages of either French, Japanese, Korean, Chinese. Can grasp the word, maybe not comprehend. I'm always on with the customs or the way of the art or expression, the sound. I embrace it. I listen to or embrace hip hop, R&B, rock, country even. I'm not a person of favoritism. So then, EDM. So then, if it's cinema, then I value cinema the same way a person would be a music head or a sneakerhead. If it's a person who have a library of books. So if it's cinema, then it's the art of. It's one thing if you say drama. Then I would like to acknowledge it in contrast to performing arts. So if it's cinema, then it's it don't matter what the cast is. Cinema is cinema. If it's even I really value independent films or even YouTube skits in the space of if it's cinema or acting. If it's sport, then it's athletics. So whether it be gymnastics, whether it be basketball, NBA, WNBA, football, professional, college, soccer, it doesn't matter if it's fighting sport or combat sport, then I wouldn't be super American boxing. I embrace it. Yet there's fencing, there's Muay Thai, taekwondo, or the space of martial arts, American boxing. So then, when going back to when I say the cyberspace versus the flesh space, and then I can't lie to myself. I say, well, there's a stigma on in some spaces on pornography or pornography, right? Yet then it'll be like the LGBTQ community, and it'll be I don't know if it's maybe so much of a stigma, yet often maybe a fight for rights or a voice. So then I don't want to get too explicit, yet maybe just real tabbed it in this expression. So to be kind of straightforward and or blunt, or to articulate myself. So then the consideration is, I would say, well, pornography, if I would have never got introduced to it, and I got introduced to it at a really very early age, I would say maybe could have been 9, 10, before, actually could have been 8, 9, 10, between 8 and 12 years old, certainly before 12 years old. Yeah, that's neither here nor there. The consideration is, if I would have never got introduced to it, or if I would have never seen it a day in my life, I would be a very, very lost individual. Just considering my path, my journey and understanding of life. So it led to, well, I won't say it led to, yet in a sense, ever since 2018, I got introduced to, around the time of 2018, I got introduced to the concept and space of the study of sexology. So I can't really be immature about sex. So the consideration is, there's duality, there's social construct, there's double standards. So I would say, I wouldn't say I wonder, yet the consideration is, if I were to consider, is it a problem to any, is there a problem in the world amongst humanity if I masturbate? I don't mean to be blunt. Is there a problem? So then I would say, well, is there a problem that cinema has violence and blood and gore and killing and drama in one area or another? Does it contribute to killing? Does it contribute to drama? And going back to the masturbation, I say, well, you don't have to. I don't know if I recommend it or not. Yet, maybe you can find a video of a baboon, like a monkey, masturbating. The same way, the similar or same nature that a baboon masturbates is the similar nature that a man or male human being masturbates. So then this concept, doggy style, and maybe you see a horse doing that nature, that as a concept, doggy style to it. Now going back again to that, sex is more natural than speaking most spoken languages, maybe even more natural than writing in any written language. So a part of me really cannot be too immature of it. Yet the consideration, going back to when I asked the question or expressed the question, is it a problem if I masturbate? So then this is where it goes into maybe of a sociology or sociological or social construct space of consideration. This isn't in any way degrading any activity. That the consideration is, there's something called dildos. There's dildos. Back in 2024, the sex toy market or industry accumulated approximately 40 billion. The sex toy industry was approximately, the market was approximately $40 billion. So if you go to, for instance, Adam and Eve sex toy website, you see many sex toys. There's a lot of dildos. So it'd be like, okay, well, is there a double standard or something where I'm just going to speak in the space of, because there would be spaces of expression in a space like this where there'd be something like semen retention or nofap or these different things that are kind of, steer a person away from that activity or nature, right? The American Psychology Association acknowledges that porn addiction isn't a thing. My take on that is watching. If you say porn addiction, you have the word conscious. It's one pronunciation, two different spellings, two different meanings. One is the awareness of your surroundings. The other one is the awareness of your behavior. So if you say porn addiction, or a person expresses that concept, is it automatically intertwining masturbation to it and making it sex addiction or masturbation addiction? Because the consideration is sex is the most natural thing is just as natural as it's a natural nature. So then that's if viewing or watching pornography is you said when they use the concept porn addiction, is it the watching? If a person is watching it or watches it, is that what's being referred to, or is it being connected to masturbation? Because the consideration is, if a person is watching, for instance, as sport or let's say for entertainment, I'm going to say as a sport, as if it's a sport, or if it's entertainment, or for entertainment, is how often does the average person watch TV? How often does the average person listen to music? Are these natural things? Is technology natural? Or these are man-made things that evolved over time? So if a person watches TV or listens to music, is there such thing as TV addiction? Is there such thing as music addiction? If it's a matter of listening to music or watching TV. So then if you go to the space and consideration of pornography addiction or porn addiction, the consideration is that, that concept there, mainly connected to masturbation or even male masturbation. And if not, or if so, the consideration is if being viewed as entertainment, as sports or movies or TV, then is there such thing as TV addiction? Because any person will have there. So if a person is watching, the consideration is if a person has any kind of this package deal, whether it be Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, and you have access to all a library of shows, films, movies. And say a person, they really, really, really love thriller, or they really, really love comedy, or they really, really love action. So if the action that they love to watch is, shoot, explosion, they have that option. And it could be rated PG-13 and not rated R, and still have that activity in there. Maybe most not yet. So then it's the consideration of, well, sex is certainly more natural than shooting or than weapons or guns, because they exist in other species that inhabited the earth before humans, I believe that came after the other species. So then it's if there's an acceptance of something very unnatural, what is the consideration is of what is of the stigma of acknowledging something natural, something, so the consideration of when I was expressing, okay, the dildos thing. So the consideration is, well, in the consideration of others, or just with genuine or base consideration or genuine consideration is, if you in a space of maybe logic, It's more of a logical take, or space in take in the area of logic. So, if, for instance, would this be considered a double standard, or I'm not going to say psychological manipulation? Yeah, would this be considered a double standard? If you say, okay, well, say hypothetically, no fap and semen retention and porn addiction is mainly targeting males, mainly targeting men. Let's say hypothetically, and then it's okay. It's okay if you watching pornography and masturbating, then connecting porn addiction to masturbation, and thus making the masturbation and pornography viewing one, and connecting it to the concept of sex addiction, where there's films out like named or titled Nymphomaniac. There's BDSM communities, there's LGBTQ communities, there's different sex communities, there's sex worker communities, there's brothels. So then, and I say hypothetically, so the consideration is there a double standard? Say if it's mainly men targeted in the, let's say the pornography in hindsight. One thing if it's entertainment, it's another thing if it's maybe a stimulant, or however a person would acknowledge it. I've watched public interviews and referring to such that are in Japan, and I acknowledge that the people in Japan are very mature if it's a matter of relationship, sex, even prostitution, or the view of pornography, very immature in expression and acknowledging in these spaces. So then it's okay if it's mainly targeting men or males watching porn, and it say the consideration is if it serves as a stimulant. Is the consideration is if a woman has a dildo or has dildos, even a collection or anything, and there's different kinds, right? Yet then, consider once it's modeled after a male private part, or it's a male. Some of them have like a body. Then there's sex dolls as well. There's sex dolls, like full women sex dolls, thousands of dollars. So then if it's, the consideration is of the dildo being, some dildos being modeled after a male private part, you can call it a penis or whatever, however you want to acknowledge it, being modeled after it. Is it a double standard if a male watches pornography to acknowledge the woman's body for a stimulant, in contrast to how maybe a dildo is used for a sexual stimulant? Or contribution to the sex experience, or however you will. So then it's like that. Is it a double standard? So then the consideration is being a human being in of American origin. There's different spaces to explore, whether it be sports, athletics, education, community, entertainment, music and cinema again. So then, go just becoming the age of 31, it really doesn't matter of the age. Yet the consideration is, having this path leading up to this day and age is of the consideration of, okay, the film, as I expressed earlier, Anon, A-N-O-N, it's really great and amazing film. I don't know if it's still on Netflix. It should be. I believe it is. Yet when when I seen, I believe, I don't like to be not verbatim yet, when I seen this cyberspace versus the flesh space, it's like cyberspace versus the flesh space. So then you have the LGBTQ community, yet then consider it'll be websites where there's broadcasting or I'm going to say it's like masturbation broadcasting or websites, or and then there's no really a community in the space of them. It's in itself will be a community. Yet it's not. It doesn't go into the LGBTQ space. So it doesn't go in any space of sexual orientation. So then it's well, if a person, there's the concept of sexual frustration. A sexual person is sexual frustration or sex frustration or sexually frustrated. One could be from not being satisfied, not knowing how to be satisfied. It could be for another reason. Then it also can be from not, being sexually active at all. It may be connected to maybe a certain period of time or in general. Yet then, in the consideration of there's studies and it expresses how it contributes to drowsiness if you climax or whatever, make you fall asleep. Maybe it happens with couples. They do it, then they fall asleep like a baby. Yet then I want to revert back to when I was expressing the porn addiction. If you say, well, porn addiction, are you connecting? Is it hypothetically, is porn addiction connected to male masturbation and viewing porn as opposed to just the viewing of pornography like entertainment alone? So then the consideration of if such thing would be implied, connecting pornography to sex addiction, and connecting it to masturbation. The consideration is, consider the scenario: there's a married couple, married or not yet. Let's consider a married couple, and they have 4 children, 5, 6, 7, 5+ children, and they're all close in age. And this married couple lives together. The commercial, they say, how many licks does it take to get to the center of the Tootsie Roll Pop? How many times does it take? How many times? I don't think that it's really tallied yet. How many on average? Maybe many people don't keep count. How many times on average does it take to, for sex to take place, for a woman to get pregnant? And some women it's difficult to get pregnant. Yet then, if you consider as a family, a married couple, and they have 5, 6, 7, however many children, and they're all close in age, how much? It's only the husband and wife, and that's it. How much sex is taking place? So is that sex addiction? Would it be connected to sex addiction or solely making love? That you would consider maybe that it's happening quite frequently. So then the consideration is, well, you will notice that in such places or situations in the world where sex can be a problem, or drama or problem would be connected to it or made out of it or of it. So then it's like, okay, well, a person goes out. A scenario would be a person meets a person, and then the person, say a guy, meets a woman, he has sex with her, and then he doesn't know that she's married or in a relationship. She either hides it or lies about it, and then the person that she's in a relationship with finds out, and then the person who didn't know of it, he gets attacked by the person that she's in a relationship with that he didn't know of. So that's just one scenario. So then the consideration is, when I say cyberspace versus flesh space, it's okay, well, it's almost as if, okay, I don't know if it would be considered cyber sex or not. Yet the consideration is, well, I believe that it's more harmless, there's studies, I believe, in the space of considering that it's more harmless or safe to masturbate than to have in-person sex, even if you're considering transmitted diseases, even too. Yet the consideration is, my consideration mainly is in the space of drama. So, or problems. So then, um, the consideration of when if thus to the cyberspace, flesh space, considering masturbation, a person would rather, you know, masturbate than to be intertwined with a person. Or so the consideration of, okay, if one were to watch, you know, much shooting and much killing, you know, and consider that weapons don't come from God, they come from man, and then thus if to rather, I feel as if problems can be made of sex. Yet then, you know, if a person is, you know, I believe that it can be an act of play. It can be very playful. It can be very peaceful. It can be very blissful or bliss contributing, or separate from how it can be used. So this video going approximately 27 minutes to 30 minutes, and my phone being at about 10%. I want to kind of wrap it up with the consideration and expression of, okay, well, as a heterosexual male who doesn't sexualize women, I'm very comfortable with nature, naturalness, sexuality, humanity. So if I go to the gentleman's club or strip club, no matter what the woman is doing or how sexual she's being, or if she's completely nude, I don't sexualize. I'm comfortable with the human body. So if I choose to go to an adult site and I happen to masturbate and not just simply admire if it's broadcasting or something, if I choose to do it, it's not because I'm the H word. I don't even like to say it. It's not of me, horny, right? Or because I'm turned on. Okay, I'm comfortable with the nature of the nature of sex or whatever. So at times I may just do it. Yet then the consideration is, well, being at the age of 30 years old, I've experienced love, my most pure experience of love. If you want to use the concept, I know that romanticism would be connected to somewhat of a or to romanticism, I believe, would be connected to some type of ideal. Yet then, you know, this quote unquote puppy love. You know, my most pure experience was, you know, when I was in high school, and when I was in elementary school and middle school, I would fall in love with the romantic films of the time, like Love Don't Cost a Thing, and until this day, I still love what I acknowledge as quality couples or positive pairs. I love to see love. So when I see it, I don't need it. I don't expect it. I didn't mean to say I don't need it. When I see it, it even more so contributes to me not seeking it for myself. I have gratitude, so it's gratifying to see, no matter what the couple pair is, no matter what the sexual orientation, no matter what the ethnicity, I see a beautiful couple or positive pair, as I acknowledge, or quality couple, and then it's gratifying. It's good to see. So me myself wouldn't seek me being on disability and not being independent and only receiving a certain amount of income, because love can be, you know, priceless, or love can be expensive. So then the consideration is, well, I've had my experience, whether it have been, you know, high school or a bit after, or my younger ages. So I'm not, you know, actively seeking for, you know, let's say a long-term intimate relationship, because at these times it is very difficult and or can be very difficult. And it's not that it's, to me, that I deem it as difficult for my personal self. It is just a reality. I really can't seek or expect much. I'm going to bring up the name as Tupac would express. He expressed something like he hasn't found a woman yet to fit up to his standards, and he's sure he doesn't fit up to a woman's standards. So that's where I'm at. I'm sure I don't fit up to a woman's standards. He's expressed not the woman that she is, yet the woman she could be. If you watch the movie Love Don't Cost a Thing, it's, Paris will see Al, and then she's like, okay, let me give you a makeover, and she saw and made him in her image, or if you want to acknowledge it that way, however you want to acknowledge it, and she gave him a makeover and saw in him what he didn't see in himself. Yet separate from that, with me is, well, at times, I can't be homophobic. I embrace all people. Yet then, being a heterosexual person, seeing like a lot of and not that it makes me uncomfortable, yet when it's advertised to me, it can throw me off. So then it's like I need to balance out this homosexual or LGBTQ, these projections. I know I don't need to use my phone, and technology isn't natural, and I can just meditate. Yet even that's difficult at times. So I would go to adult entertainment or a masturbation broadcasting website and admire the women, acknowledge the women, and not even if there's sexual activity, I'm blind to it. I even say I'm blind. It locks my eyes. I'm not paying attention to it. I'm just admiring the nature, just as if I were to admire a bird or a rabbit or a dragonfly or insect. All these are what people term God creation. So kind of balance out if there's a masculine and a feminine and a yin and a yang. So then my consideration now is at 31 minutes. Phone is probably at whatever percent, 3 or 4. I say, well, if it's cyberspace and flesh space, no, I'm not going to seek to be a star of cinema or America's cinema or recording artist. Yes, I record. Yet it's a hobby, and I post without expectation. I don't care what it sounds like. Yes, I want to do skits. I'm not going to do it because I don't have independence, and I'm not in an environment that I feel would enable me to do it how I would like to do it. And it's not even, still, that's not even much. So it's okay. Well, chances are, and I don't want to say chances are. The consideration is there's a difference between the entertainment space and the sex communities, whether it be sex worker community or the LGBTQ community, which is maybe a bit different, maybe it's a little bit more political. Yet then, if I go to, for instance, and I don't have a problem saying this word or this site because I respect the website and the community and the people, just like any other space. At Chatterbait, I go in there, there'll be couples, people, women, men, and at least 90 to 95 or 95% are very, 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 very respectable people. If you can look past the name of the website and what the website is made for, and the sexual activity, and I forget the source that it comes from, yet if you measure the heart to that of a weight of a feather, if you measure the heart to that of the weight of a feather, and it's very, very genuine people. So it's a bit, I don't want to say unfortunate, or the word odd, I don't know what word to use, that where I have to retreat from a space that I love so much, which would be music or entertainment, and then thus make myself more accustomed to the space where there's sexual activity, which is more natural than weapons and spoken language to begin with, to have a balance to my American experience or my human experience in this country or in the country of America. So if it was a matter of the cyberspace and the flesh space, it wouldn't be, I'm anti-social, anti-everybody, or it would be more so embracing, okay, well, yes, it can be a problem made out of me masturbating, or it can be my delusion because I'm diagnosed with psychosis and I'm a psychiatric patient. So maybe there is no problem with me masturbating. Maybe it is. And it's not even that, because I don't care to it. I was in oblivion up to the age of 23, and after that point, what could have been or could be considered addiction went away. Hasn't been, and it's impossible to enter again ever since 2020, year 2020 sharp. I know myself. I can express myself honestly, from the inside out. So from the bottom up. So then it's like, well, if I'm not going to victimize myself, and I'm like, well, if certain things would be projected onto myself, I'm just going to make myself comfortable in this community, and not to fit in, yet because I respect this community as well, I respect this space as well. So if I choose to make a platform like Chatterbait, or even Pornhub, it don't matter. I don't want to say it don't matter, or even Pornhub, yet it's because I really don't care to. Such programs can be off-putting, yet the website of Chatterbait is a genuine people. If you look past the name of the website, if you look past the activity and you acknowledge the people as people, very, very genuine, peaceful people, acting in the space of one of the most natural things you can do, which is sexual activity that exists amongst all species. So if I decide to disappear, not literally, that's something else in a different way, or go and do it into, okay, well, I'm going to go on, I'm just going to be on this website every day, whether it be broadcasting or acknowledging and acting or respecting or admiring or one thing or another, is because in this space, this is a little political, or in this space, this is a little dramatic. And when I was growing up, when I was 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, it was always the nature of admiring and respecting. And then thus now I see conflict and competition and certain things that aren't of my nature at core and center in that heart. So then it'd be like, okay, this is where I depart. Thank you.